I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my workbook series, The Knowledge, will help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
I'm Coach Margaret.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And today we're going to be talking about your silence is a message to your ex. Boy, it really is when you finally stop reaching out to your ex and you decide to go no contact, no reaching out. It really makes a major difference in turning a breakup around.
The silence is overwhelming, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, in fact, you shared a quote before we sit down to record it.
Yes. You know how I like those old guys from antiquity. This is a speech by Cicero, the Roman guy, and he's yelling at a guy who's involved in treason. And he's talking about the rest of the senators, and he said that they didn't say anything when you entered the room, and when they are silent, they shout it.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. Okay? You know, it doesn't always mean you're going to get your ex back, of course, but I really believe that when you stop reaching out to your ex, it makes a major shift in the dynamic.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Because at that point, one major thing happens. That gives them the time and the space to feel anxiety from missing you.
Yep.
And that's critical.
She doesn't miss me. I heard that she's been going to clubs with another guy who's really cute.
Mm-hmm. No, that doesn't mean at some point that she's not going to miss you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to talk about this today.
Right. And many of you may also be feeling guilty that you haven't been reaching out to your ex, thinking
That's a good point.
It's something that you're doing wrong.
That's a good point.
But in reality, it's just a consequence of their decision. And by respecting their decision and giving them that space, you are showing them that you respect their autonomy. Many times towards the end of the breakup, we're often inclined to beg, to plead our partner, to try to convince them otherwise of the breakup. And it's really undermining their decision when we do that. By the time a breakup comes around in a relationship, most likely your partner has thought this through a decent amount. And so for them to be faced with, you not being able to handle it, it's difficult for them, and they normally dig their feet in the ground only further.
That's right.
Yep.
And so it can really upset your ex if you try to convince them or beg or plead.
Yeah, because at that point they want to feel free.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And
good point.
It's so important that you understand they want to feel free. And you don't want them to feel free. I get it. But if you don't let them feel free, they're going to get angry. Right? Because they're going to feel like, the more they feel like you're trying to hold on and not really moving on, the more they're likely to going to get upset at you. Mm-hmm. Now, the ironic thing is that when you do let them go, that's when they start to think, oh my gosh, maybe I'm making a mistake.
Exactly.
Right. So it can be very confusing, and we get that, right? But, you have to understand that when your ex is thought this through and they are set with the decision, you trying to change their mind is only going to make them more and more upset at you.
Right.
Because more likely than not, they probably had been considering breaking up with you for a while. Mm-hmm. And you probably had considered breaking up with them at certain points, mm-hmm. which is the ironic thing, right?
Yeah, right. Sure.
But you're like, no, I'm going to keep going. I want to work it out. Well, a lot of times they have been up and down and going through these thoughts in their head for a while. You just didn't realize it. When they go through with it, it's hard because they realize they're going to have some consequences, mm-hmm. but they don't know how severe it's going to be.
Exactly. And your silence really shows that you can handle the breakup. You can't use your ex as an emotional crutch during this time. Mm-hmm. They're just not in that emotional space for you. And it's difficult because throughout your entire relationship, you've grown close to this person. This is the person that you've gone to for comfort. And so that's what makes it difficult. But your ex can't console you during the breakup.
Yeah, and that's the irony is that's the one person you want to talk to,
Yeah.
right?
Of course.
About and tell them what's going on with you and how you're struggling.
Yeah.
And so they're the person that you want to talk to about it, and that's the one person you can't go to. You have to stop reaching out. When you do, and you have given it time and space, and they start to realize that you're not reaching out, that shows them that you are emotionally centered and confident, that you
right.
don't have to chase them, which makes you look weak and insecure.
Right. And it's also a great way to set your boundaries. You might not think of silence as being a boundary, but it really is.
Oh, yes, indeed it is. Yeah.
And it's basically saying, I'm not going to engage with somebody who decided to end a relationship with me. That is the boundary. And the boundary is also, I will not continue to emotionally invest in somebody who is not reciprocating. This is also something to protect you.
There are some people, oftentimes avoidant, who break up with you and 2 weeks later call you again to console them on something. So it can even get confusing as to who's responsible for the breakup.
Right.
You are. I didn't think about this. This was not my idea.
You know, I really believe that the more you work through your issues and your attachment issues, the more naturally confident you become. Right? And that's why we say over and over again, do the work. You've got to do the work, because you don't realize that you have blind spots, you have triggers, and there are going to be small little behaviors that will either attract somebody or turn them off. And you're not going to be aware of those things. But when you show them that you're not reaching out, that is the strongest thing that you can do in a breakup.
Yep. I will be just fine without you.
Yep.
It was lovely while you were here, but I will be just fine.
And that in itself can be threatening to an ex. Another message that your silence sends to them is that they can also lose you. Now, this is one that you might not think about too often because you're on the opposite side of the spectrum, thinking that they're gone forever, they're going to date somebody else, they're not coming back.
They don't care about losing me.
Exactly,
right?
exactly. But if they don't reach out, they are also taking a risk.
And that is huge. But what you don't understand when you're going through this, and believe me, I've been there, is that it takes time for them to miss you. And of course, their mental health, their attachment issues, and the reasons for the breakup, and the how strong the relationship is, all of these are different factors that we're not going to get into today. But all of those things are going to impact how no contact affects them, when it starts to affect them. And, you know, also, obviously, the more, we'll say, mistakes, begging, pleading, manipulations, driving by, all those things, handwritten letters, those things are all going to likely mean that it takes longer to turn things around.
Exactly.
How long will it take for him to miss me?
Every situation is so different. But, you know, usually it takes an ex about 4 months, I think,
3 or 4.
before they really start to get hit hard by it.
And that's just when they start experiencing it.
Yeah.
So if you're not hearing back from your ex within that time, that doesn't mean that it's, you know, done with. It just means they're starting to process at that point.
But think about this. Look at it this way. If you are truly doing the work in that time, in therapy, doing the course, doing the workbooks, watching our videos, really taking everything in and focusing on being the best version of yourself, think about how surprised they will be to see that version of you, right? Because I don't think there's anything more motivating than a breakup.
Right.
Right? So when you stop reaching out and show them this silence, they also don't know what it means anymore. And that's huge. Not knowing if you're interested anymore is absolutely one of the biggest things that can impact them. Right?
Sure. Yeah, they're completely confused. Yep.
And it increases their anxiety.
Yep.
They've also grown to know you very intimately. So they also know what you have been doing every day, possibly for the entirety of your relationship that just ended. So inevitably, they are going to feel that curiosity about what you're doing, and it's going to get to them.
Absolutely. Silence is very powerful. Believe me, it is. Even if they don't show it, even if you're not sure, Trust me, I've heard it over and over again. I've heard so many times exes say, I thought about you every day. Mm-hmm. And the person I was talking to had no idea, right? Mm-hmm. I was thinking about you every day. I was wondering if you had moved on. I wonder if I lost you. Mm-hmm. But that only happens in silence, right?
Right.
Okay.
And that's the biggest question. Have you moved on?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. Now, I wouldn't recommend that you're trying to make them jealous in a manipulative way, because it often backfires, okay? Mm-hmm. So it's got to be more of a natural thing that you're genuinely trying to do. Mm-hmm. So hopefully you found this one helpful. Let us know in the comment section. If you need our help personally, you can get it at my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Skype. Margaret is available for Skype coaching.
If you think I can be helpful, please sign up.
And Victoria is available for coaching.
Yes, and I'm looking forward to talking with you.
But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
I'm Coach Margaret.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.